Good evening. Hello. How are you doing tonight? I feel all right. Having a okay week. Kind of getting anxious as my trip getting closer and closer because that's how I am now. I get anxious about everything. Oh, I've got a trip in a few days, a routine trip that puts me in no danger whatsoever. Better get nervous. C'est la vie. Anyhow, on my lunch hours lately, I've been really caught up in watching this show. Probably most people saw it because it aired on TV in America last year, but it hit Japanese Netflix recently, and I watched the whole thing and I really got into it. It was American Crime Story, the second season, which was all about the uh, Versace murder. Although, really, it's kind of all about the guy who killed him. See, I saw the first season, which was about the O.J. Simpson trial, and it was interesting because, of course, I lived through that whole thing, and it was the news story that you couldn't escape, and it was something everyone had an opinion about it because you couldn't not hear about it. And it was a pretty interesting drama at the time, even though it was a little weird that it was so focused on one guy, and that one guy was David Schwimmer. And of course, at the end, you find out, oh, this guy passed away, so no wonder they can write the whole story about him because he's not dead. He can't object to the portrayal of himself. So sure enough, they make a second season, and the title is, the assassination of Gianni Versace, but really it's about the guy who killed him. And in this case, because he committed murder and then killed himself, they can kind of write whatever story they want, but still, it's kind of amazing how much of his crime spree was documented by the police and reporters. And so as I watched the show, I was reading along with kind of like fact checkers, people who are, because the show came out last year, lots of people wrote about it and everyone dissected it already. So the story they told is pretty close to what happened. But what's really most fascinating about it for me is that the first episode is about the guy shooting Versace and then running away. And it sprinkles in a little bit of, oh, they met at some party or something years and years earlier. And then each episode, it just keeps going backwards. The first episode is the murder. And then the next episode is like, oh, what was he doing in the week before the murder? And then the next episode is like, oh, what was he doing before he got to Florida? And it's like each step goes backwards and backwards and backwards. And it all sort of comes together in the end. And it's just, from a storytelling standpoint, it's fascinating. It really is. And I'm not a big true crime person. I don't listen to any of the true crime podcasts. Not a one. I've never heard Serial. Don't even talk about Serial. I don't even know what that is. Let's be frank. But I found the show really compelling, and that was a big part of it. Another another part of it, but it's a problem. The guy playing Andrew Cunanan is really hot, and as I watched the show, I'm watching it. I'm like, I shouldn't be this attracted to a serial killer. He's much too hot to be murdering people and have me feel okay about that. Which ties to another story, is that because this story is all about Andrew Cunanan, really, there's some stuff about Versace and they try to show some parallels, and it's again, it's really well written, it's really well shot. This is a very compelling story, and it's only 9 episodes, so it's not even that long. I really do recommend you check this out. It's just because you spend so much time with Andrew Cunanan, there's some sense of sympathy for him, which is kind of upsetting. I mean, he murdered people. He murdered a lot of people, and there was no ulterior motive. I mean, you could almost understand his emotional reasoning behind it, but he definitely killed those people. None of them were self-defense, and none of them were some kind of greater good thing. He killed them and robbed them, and then went on to the next person who killed and robbed them too. So he was a despicable person. It's probably better that he's not live anymore. But as a character in the show, he's extremely hot and at times kind of sympathetic. But anyway, it's so compelling. So please consider watching it. Please don't fall in love with him because the real person's dead and probably isn't worth it. The actor's still alive, though. Hey. I don't know what I'm gesturing for. He's not watching this. Anyway, I I recommend it. Look up American Crime Story. Look up Gianni Versace. Really good watch, and not incredibly long like most streaming shows are these days. Speaking of long, it's been a long day. Good night, everybody. I love you.